Last week, I had one of those days. I lost a $1.2 million deal that I thought was locked. Previous client, solid discovery call, even handled the shopping around part. I pretended not to know that when he told me he was getting 95 to 100 basis points off on a variable rate, uninsured deal, that I could overcome this. Then a realtor bailed on a meeting the night before the meeting. He was referred by a friend of mine. He was excited to have the Ownwell conversation. Then he called me and said, hey, you can still come to the meeting and we can chat, but there is zero chance that I'm going to switch mortgage brokers. He was really emphatic about that, and it rattled me in the moment. This caught me off guard, and certainly I didn't like it, but it was starting to get me, this compounding of these feelings was starting to get me a bit rattled. Of course, I politely declined going to the meeting after that. Then a firm that I've been courting for quite a while, a few months now, to adopt their very large database of tens of thousands of clients. Yeah, I'm shooting for the stars for an Ownwell Adopt My Mortgage program. They called and they canceled a planned meeting to discuss this strategy and the presentation, and they said they were going in a different direction. And then a coaching client quit on me before we even got started. Wow, what a day. And old thoughts crept in, and how could they not? These are brutal results. All in one day. You're not good enough, you're failing, push harder, then panic, the gasoline, and anxiety, the spark, lit up some old programming like a forest fire inside of me. But this time, I caught it. I didn't resist the disappointment. I felt it. But I didn't attach to the stories that my ego was making up. I just paused. I did some breath work to get grounded, and then I asked, are these stories even true? Under scrutiny, the stories just don't hold up. I'm not failing. I wasn't failing. I am good enough. I don't need to prove anything to anyone, and certainly not to myself, for me to feel safe. I ask myself better questions. Why is this happening for me? Not why is this happening to me? When I say why is this happening to me, I'm opening up a victim mindset. Then something outside of me, these brutal results, are defining who I am, or more or less defining who I'm becoming. And I also asked, what is this teaching me? This opens up inspiration. This opens up creativity. This gets me thinking about what happened so that I can be better. And it opens up gratitude. I genuinely got to a place where I was grateful that these results happened for me. Sure, I could say pragmatically it meant I'm that much closer to a yes. But more importantly, it was like, when I moved to a place of why is this happening for me and what can I learn, I move away from victimhood and scarcity and fear and anxiety, and I move to excitement and inspiration, and I start getting creative. Those lost deals got me started thinking about this problem that we're having in our marketplace right now, and the threat that this industry is under right now as it relates to banks and others who are providing interest rates that sometimes are unattainable, like unreachable for a traditional mortgage broker. So this got me to just double down on some new discovery call scripts and some new strategy session attack plans. I was on fire with inspiration. I then went and connected to my 10-year future self. This is worthy work that I did at the end of last year during a retreat that I was facilitating for mortgage brokers. And we did this work so that when I find myself in a place of awfulizing my future, based on the results I'm getting in this moment, which is these brutal results of that day and all this failure and all of these, setbacks, I then can go into my future and say, oh no, I'm doomed. Oh no, I've got problems, or this isn't going to work, or, you know, all kinds of things that are not a good place. Because then when I go into my future and I start having those thoughts in this moment, the feelings that are coming up are of fear and anxiety and, you know, genuine concern for my well-being. And that's not good, because I'm then in this moment sitting in fear, scarcity, and anxiety, which shuts down creativity, shuts down inspiration, shuts down excitement, and now I'm stuck. And so when I connect to an exciting and inspiring future self, then I can then go there, and my future, what I'm designing, what I said I'm creating for me, is full of excitement and inspiration. And that's the feelings that I want. You see, when I'm awfulizing my future, sometimes for me, my mind, my ego can go on overdrive. Is this going to fail? Am I going to fail in front of all of you? What will I do then? Will I be homeless? Like, seriously, that stuff comes up for me. Will I have enough money to feel safe? And the only way out is to connect with the exciting and inspiring future that I created. Connect with the vision for my health. This opens up more gratitude. The vision for my wealth. This opens up more inspiration. And the fact that under scrutiny, the reality is that I'm going to be just fine. And connection to the vision that I have for the impact that I want to create in my business life. This opens up a wellspring of inspiration and steadfast belief in me that all came rushing back in. So the next day, 3 new deals came in. And another big enterprise deal that I've been chasing for a while, that is tens and tens of thousands of potential Adopt My Mortgage clients, and also approximately 6,000 realtors. That moved closer to yes. So more on that hopefully soon in an upcoming episode. So that exercise, catching it, being aware that I was allowing my old programming to come in and disrupt and dysregulate my current present moment, and then settling with that, understanding it's not true, and then go and connect to the exciting and inspiring future self that I created, and then go to my vision for my business, and then go to my planning and analytics to see that, okay, I'm good. My leads are still good. My applications are good. My book deals are good. My on-deck deals, you know, I've got lots of deals coming down the pipeline. I can then move to a place of comfort. And I don't like using the word comfort, but safety and solid in this moment. I shed that old programming. I was peaceful. I was present, and I was even joyful. The shift was from moving from proving to expressing. I don't need to prove anything to anyone, much less myself. I need to express who I really am. That's the real build. Okay, so the Ownwell email campaign went out. You knew that from the previous episode. Well, now we got the results. And so what I'm going to do is I've created a document where I sort of tabulated all the results. I'm happy to share this with you. Sign up for Build Mode Weekly and I'll send it out to you, to our Build Mode Weekly customers, or I guess I should say members. Anyway, all right, so when I'm looking at this, I had 2 realtor groups that sent this out. And we had talked about there being 500 clients, but once we really cleaned up and got everything going, we still sent out all those emails, approximately almost 500 emails. But for the data, for the analysis, I decided to make a switch. Because what I didn't know when I first got that was that there was a lot of husband and wife or spousal situations. And so I thought for the data, we should probably do it based on the number of unique households, because that's really I can't get 2 deals out of one house. So, so as you can see, on the screen, we had realtor number one had 143 unique households. Realtor number one got a 45% open rate and a 25% click-through rate. Now, that is lower than standard Ownwell stats, but that's understandable. Standard Ownwell stats up until now have been when mortgage brokers are sending it out to their own clients. So this was essentially a cold email. We did warm it up a smidge, but hey, listen, I'm pretty happy with that. 45% open rate on a coldish email, 25% click-through rate. That's pretty good. So we ended up with 10 opt-ins, so 10 adopted mortgages out of this one realtor, 7% of the total emails. So I should actually do that. It's probably more like, 7% of the unique households registered their mortgage information. However, that might seem low, and maybe it was slightly under what I was hoping to get. But what's true is that of the 16 people who opened the email, and of those, 10 of those people gave us their mortgage information. So that's so those 10 opt-ins out of 16 opens is 63% of the people who reviewed the Ownwell report actually added their mortgage information for this particular realtor. And so I think that's pretty good. 60% of people take action. I think that's way higher than typical email marketing type campaigns. I ended up getting 3 leads out of those 10 people who registered their mortgage information, so that's 30%. That's double the Ownwell math hypothesis. Remember, the hypothesis is 15% of adopted clients have a mortgage need, a lead. And so that was good. I got 1 discovery call and I got 1 book deal. So the Ownwell math is 25% of the opted-in leads. So 25% of the 3 opted-in leads become a deal. And so that's, 25% of 3 is just 0.75. So I got 1 deal. So that held. That math held. So I'm pretty good about that. I also got 2 referrals from this realtor team in the week that the Ownwell came out, the time I'm shooting this. I've had 7 referrals from that team since we first presented to them that you saw in episode 2. This is the team that I went to the lunch with. And that's the bonus. As far as Ownwell math goes here, I need 3 to 4% of adopted mortgages. So 10 opt-ins, I need 0.3 to 0.4 deals. So honestly, I think we're okay here. Like the math held. Yeah, the numbers are low, but that's okay. Everything's a test right now. I'm trying to test the hypothesis and then we go big. Also, this particular realtor team, they got 1 lead who reached out to check in about hey, I might be able to afford a bigger house. I know word on where that's gone because that just happened recently, and when I'm shooting this, nothing's come of that. So that particular realtor though was very, very happy. I mean, first email goes out. I went over, by the way, you have a meeting with the realtors and go over these stats with them. It was super important for them. And they were very happy. They were happy with the engagement. They were happy with the opt-ins. You remember, they're being sold on this idea that they're creating more engagement with their past client database than their crappy newsletter. And so that I think worked really well. Realtor number 2, 136 unique households, so pretty much the same size database. 40% open rate, so slightly less open rate, but a higher click-through rate. Smidge. Okay, both I think are good in that regard, but they need to be better. Of those, though, we only got 4 opt-ins, 2.9% relative to 7%. I'm going to tell you in a second what I think the secret was such the difference in the dramatic results. But of those, 21 people reviewed their report and only 4 opted in, so that's 19% instead of 63%. Again, I'm going to share with you shortly here why I think that happened. Okay, so I got 1 lead from those opt-ins, 25% of the adopted mortgages, 4 opt-ins, 1 lead, so that math held. Remember, it's 15% for Ownwell math. And so this realtor also got several more clients that reached out to him. Some were questioning the value of the home, which he was prepared for because we discussed it. Some were wondering, making sure it was legit, all of that. And some of them just wanted to say thank you. In fact, in both realtor teams, they got some of that, text messages and stuff from their clients saying thank you. And that's engagement. That's what I promised. So with that particular realtor, no deals yet. That's okay. We're testing. And I told you I'm going to work on that particular realtor to start sending me some deals. I've not yet got a referral from them yet, but I need to have that solid pitch with them to wrap the bow up. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the episode. Okay, so opportunities for improvement. Mortgage info completion. So that, oh wait, before I go there, I wanted to tell you about the difference. Here's one thing that I'm going to actually add into my future pitches with realtors. But realtor number one, remember the email that I prepared for them to send out in advance of their getting the Ownwell report. I wrote the copy, but I said edit as you wish. Realtor number one edited and added a paragraph that said something like, where the part where in that email, and by the way, you can get those emails when you subscribe to Build Mode Weekly. You can do that based on the link that's in the description for the video. But in that email, it said something like, I tried this myself. I was blown away. I thought it was really valuable. Then he added, and I thought it was so valuable that we prepaid for all of our clients to have this valuable service. So it's a bit of a white lie because I'm actually paying, but that's fine. He wanted to take the credit. I don't care. But here's what's interesting. That's the realtor that had 63% of sharing mortgage information and had a higher number of people review the report. So the other realtor just went with my copy. I think the law of reciprocity might be in play here, where the people that got that thought, oh my God, these guys are paying for this service for me. It must be valuable. It must be important, and I should probably partake. The data suggests that that's potentially true. So I'm going to add that to all of my future realtor pitch meetings. I think you should too. So anyway, opportunities for improvement. Mortgage info completion. So getting the borrowers to actually put their mortgage information in, this is the highest leverage. Because we got reasonably good, 63% on one, 20 on the other, it's pretty good of people that reviewed the report actually added their mortgage information, but I'd like to get that higher. If I had gotten higher on realtor number two, maybe I get more deals. Maybe I get a few more leads. And so these are people who have already engaged with the report, and so the improvements here will have the biggest impact. Ownwell told me we've already designed a version of the report where the mortgage info form is open by default. So what they're going to do is that when the person who's not yet adopted in and given their mortgage information, they're going to actually put a box right there on the report to just type the information in. So you don't have to click through and go through something else. We think that might be actually beneficial. So they're working on that development now. And they tell me that it'll be live before my July reports go out, so we'll be able to analyze those after that and see the difference. Open rates. Ownwell also told me that they're looking into the effort that it would require for them to send emails from Ownwell. Right now they come from hello@ownwell.ca with the realtor's name. They're going to look into development, and the last I checked, I think that's going well. I'm not sure when that's going to be done, but hopefully, soon. Where the email will come directly from the realtor's email address. That will open up more opens, because when it lands in the person's inbox and they see their realtor's name, they open it. As opposed to they see hello@ownwell.ca realtor name. So it looks, I think that's going to be meaningful, and so Ownwell is going to do that. So we need to increase open rates. We need to increase the click-through rates, and discussing with Dan and Ownwell, we're going to try some different call to actions. We're going to try some new email copy. This is all a test. And yeah, sure, it's benefiting me, but hopefully it'll also benefit all of you, because we're on this journey together. And if we can make this thing work better, we win as an industry. And that's what I want. And so now, here's what ChatGPT and Ownwell told me, and they said the most impactful action that we could do was a targeted follow-up email from the realtor. And I agree. However, I decided not to do it yet. And let me explain. So the recommended approach was we could do one email to homeowners who opened the report but didn't put their mortgage info in. These are our most engaged leads. And then email number 2 is to homeowners who haven't opened the original email or clicked through to the report. And so Ownwell can export those lists separately. We can send it to the realtor, give them the email copy, send it out to those people. And here's why I decided not to do it. I thought it was too soon. One email in, not too soon that it'll be effective. No, I think it'll be effective, but it was too much of an ask. I decided that I didn't want to hit my realtors up with, oh, now do you want to send this email to these people? And you want to send this email to these people? It just didn't feel right for me. You can go ahead, depending on the relationship that you have with realtors, you could certainly do that. I think that is going to be very effective. But I don't think, I got in my mind that the realtor's going to be like, wait a second, what am I doing? Just selling your service? Like I just keep pounding my clients to do that? I mean, that's probably a story I'm making up. It definitely is a story I'm making up in my own head. I've not tested it. I've not asked anybody yet. But I know that when I'm presenting or selling or working with people, whatever's in my head comes out of my prospect's mouth. So if I don't believe it, and I think that the realtor's going to think, what the heck is going on here? I'm doing all of your work and trying to make your business work. That's exactly how I'm going to present it, with not very much confidence and not very much belief, because that's what's in my head and that's what's going to come out of my prospect's mouth. That's a core belief for me. So I need to get myself to a place where I feel comfortable being able to ask that. And I think I need a few more reports under my belt. I need them to get a few more results. I need to get them to prove that this is working for them. Then they're willing to do more work. So that's what I decided to do. Now let's take a look at what ChatGPT said about this. They said what worked well was high engagement among report viewers. 63% on one, 19% on the other. Both I think are good. The takeaway there was ChatGPT said once people see the report, a significant percentage engage deeper. This validates the usefulness and design of the Ownwell report. I agree. If people see the report, they're inclined to want to get more. I think that's important. That proves something. Strong lead quality. Realtor number 1, 30% of opt-ins became leads. Actually, that's not true. It's not. 30% became adopted mortgages. So, no, that was true. So 30% became leads. 25% conversion on realtor number 2. So those who do engage with the report and they put their mortgage info in, remember, those are the 2 steps to create an Ownwell math. They become highly qualified. We hit the Ownwell math test. It's one test, small sample size, but hey, I'm really happy about that. Because frankly, I made up the Ownwell math. It was a target, but here we are, and we're living it in real life with real results. And so the economics are sound as well. So this is bit forecasting. If I just had the same results, remember, I'm now going to get this email to this same database for 12 months, which I think is also, I should have mentioned that earlier. I also think 1 or 2 more reports might actually increase these numbers as we go along, because people see it again. Or those same people that opted in before see it again and they're like, oh shit, you know what? Maybe I should put my information in. So I think that's important. And so the ROI is solid. So if I fast forwarded 12 months of these results, what ChatGPT calculated for me is I would have, in realtor number 1, I would generate approximately $24,000 in commission for an $858 cost. And realtor number 2, I would generate $13,500 in my gross commissions for $1,062 cost. So put those 2 together, what is that? That's approximately $1,900 in cost to deliver this, with about $37,000 in my commissions. Now, I get this is an estimate, and it's based on 1 month results, but I just want to see it. It's kind of, you know what? Whew, okay. I think we're in good shape. I think this is moving in the right direction. The takeaway here from ChatGPT was this is scalable and profitable even with our conservative performance. So Areas for improvement, ChatGPT said the same thing. Open rates, 40 to 45% open rates are solid, but they can go higher with stronger subject lines, better timing. They said possible use of SMS or social media warm-ups. Yeah, I mean, I think that's phase 2 or 3 of my Ownwell journey in my build mode. I can see me putting out some social media to support this. I don't have the database though, so I can't create lookalike audiences. So I got to think that through a little bit. Again, seeing how much I'm prepared to let the realtor be participating in this, or at least ask them to. But anyway, it's something worth considering. Click-through rates, getting 25 to 29% click-throughs, but only 11 to 16% of the total recipients are actually viewing the report. So we need to get that higher. So there's a drop off between the email open and the report view. So they're not actually, that's where I think this is where the biggest gains can be made, is can we get the people to click and look at the report? I also think that as this goes on, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5, that's going to go up because people are going to see it again and again and again. They're finally going to go, okay, shit, I should look at this. That's my bet. And so the drop off between email open and report view is my biggest gap. That's what I agreed with. So the email body has to be more compelling. I'm going to work with Ownwell to see what we can do there. Call to action buttons, not prominent or urgent enough. We're going to take a look at that. And they say the report concept may feel generic, needs clearer value. See how much your home is worth right now. I could see us sharing some stories. I think that's going to be important. Remember, people buy stories, not stuff. While conversion is great among viewers, especially Realtor One, overall opt-in rates are still low relative to database size. So enhancement coming to include fields directly in the report will help here. So that's where Ownwell is going to add the, right here. You don't have to just type in your guesses on your mortgage information. Got an opt-in. So the performance table, it's all in here. I can share this report with you, but it just sort of summarizes what I just talked to you about. And so the next steps, what are we going to do? Brainstorm some focus areas. Number 1 is subject line optimization. We're going to chat about that. And the email call to action and the design inside that email, that's got to get better so we can increase the click-through rate. That's the biggest gap. Re-engagement strategies, I told you I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to wait 2 or 3 emails in and see where we're going, what direction we're headed. And then, see if I feel comfortable asking the realtors to step up. And so there you have it. Overall, I'm really happy. I was really nervous when this first went out because is it going to hold? So far, yeah, the math's holding. Hey, and I made some money. I got a deal on a relatively small database size. So I told you, I kind of hinted at this, that I've been, right from the beginning of this build, I thought about going after some big deals with people with tens and tens of thousands of people in their databases. I'm still chasing those down because I knew they would take a long time for me to bring them to fruition. But I also needed to know that the math was going to work, because if I got to make a fairly relatively healthy investment, I got to know that the math's going to hold out. So these tests are what I need to feel confident about pulling that pitch off. So hopefully in a future episode coming up, I'll have a big news story where we landed one of these big companies. But in the meantime, just keep doing the test. I'm going to add a couple more realtors if I can, and we'll go from there. But hopefully for your takeaway is the math is holding on adopted mortgages. I can tell you what, on your own mortgages, man, guys, if you have not yet signed up for Ownwell and put your own clients into this, you're missing a boat. Because the open rates, click-through rates, and engagement rates are even higher with your own past clients. You can't miss this opportunity. And you know what? If you want to help me out and help out this series so that we can generate some revenue to keep it going, Ownwell's graciously given me an affiliate link. You can see that in the description of this video. So if you are going to sign up for Ownwell, use that, and you can use build mode as the coupon code, and you'll get $100 off of your annual plan if you sign up for Ownwell. And I make a little bit of money too, so that I can keep producing these videos and keep getting out something for you. So, okay, that's the Ownwell experience. Let's go on to the next piece. Okay, well, here I am out in the great outdoors. I often do this. I like to go pull off 4 or 5 days, sometimes 10, where me and my dog, and we go out and sit at a Crown camping spot, kind of out in the woods, off the grid, get my Starlink and do some work and just kind of, reconnect. And so I thought, what a better time share part of my life as I'm doing as we share this part of the episodes. So this particular segment is about now I know who I need. And so I recently joined up with my partner, Zach Silverman. I left my mortgage brokerage that I started and founded and sold and kept my license there. I was there for 27 years. So, it's a new chapter and I'm super excited. What a great team. And so way that I think about, I'm going to talk about this from a couple of different angles, but those of you who are listening who are agents and, thinking about what services you're getting or what services you should be getting or want to be getting. And also from the founders out there and in terms of building your team, building your, the services. And so typically I've coached on this for 15, 20 years. And essentially, classically, I always thought about this part as I want my underwriting, doc fulfillment, administration, whatever you want to call that, whether it's one position, two positions, three positions, depending on your transactional volume. I shoot for having that number to be under 30%. Now, that's a traditional historical thing I've always thought was the right number, and frankly, it has been the right number. I'm open right now. I know that there's differences that are happening in the marketplace today, one of which is that deals are harder to get done. And so therefore, transactional volume per underwriter might be down, which puts pressure on costs, which puts pressure on margins. And that is a real thing. But despite that, I think if you're a team leader where you're kind of moving into that 50, 60, 70, maybe more, sometimes 40 million, and you're thinking about building a team, the first step is that underwriter position and or doc fulfillment or two positions. But those costs together need to be under 30% of your gross commission and earnings. And that should be after split with your brokerage. And so that's the target. And so for me, what I'm doing is for my own personal business that I'm doing and sharing with you on Build Mode, I'm paying a 30% split to have underwriting, doc fulfillment, all of that side of the business, submission, compliance, like all that stuff. I've always been a firm believer, and I know that some people will consider this to be a bit controversial, maybe a bit, but if you're serious, particularly now, if you're serious about wanting to grow in my mortgage practice, I need to focus on sales. I need to focus on development, sales development, and bringing in leads and doing deals. I do not need to be focused on doing deals. And some people are always like, I can't afford it. And I have the same response to I can't afford it and I don't have time. Both of those are lies that I tell myself so that I don't have to do the work that I need to do or take the risks that I need to in order to get the life that I say that I want. And so if that's true for you, then dig in a little bit. Like I work with my coaching clients on this all the time. And the truth is that Dan Martell said, I think I might have used this quote earlier in another episode, but I love it so much. I probably say it a lot of times, but poor people spend time to save money, doing the deals, low dollar per hour activity. And they're doing that, spending their time on that to save money. Rich people spend money to save time. And the time that I get back from not having to be in the deals and doing the deals is more time that I can spend on my life and on growing my business. Now, in my case, I run two other businesses as well as this one, so I need the extra time. And so this is a personal decision for me at the volumes that I'm doing. 5 to 7 deals a month is what I'm targeting for right now as I just slowly kind of test a lot of different things before I try to really swing for the fences. At that pace, I don't technically need to have I definitely don't need to have my own underwriter that I'm paying like a $70,000 salary for. And that's why I choose to pay the split, so that I can get that done just on a per deal basis. So if I do say, let's easy math, if I do 5 deals in a month, and say my gross commission on that's $4,500, that's going to be what, $20,000, $22,500. And if I pay 30% of that, it's going to be about what, $60,000. Right in, that's like that. I'm at the cutting edge of where, well, maybe I could just save money by having my own underwriter. But then if business slips and I do 2 deals in 1 month, or whatever the case might happen, it's too big of a risk. I don't want to do it. I don't want the headache. I don't want the head count. I don't want to manage any more people. So I choose to take that split. And I know that that's option for many of you that are listening. And I think give it some really hard thought. Stop being in the deals. Number one, if you're really good at sales and really good at promotion, which you should be in order to grow your business, chances are you're not that good at that part. There's people that do that better, people that specialize in the underwriting and the doc collection, so do that. Now, the next position that you would hire is a salesperson to take the deals from discovery call and strategy session. And so for me, again, at the level of business that I'm currently doing, I would say all of you that are doing that should have you do that job yourself. That's the highest dollar per activity. That's the reason. That's the way that it should be, and that's how much you should make that money for you. But for me, it's a personal decision because, again, I'm running 3 businesses, and I'm very protective of my peace and my energy and my time. And so I don't want to be grinding all 3 businesses and working 60 hours a week. That's not what I want. I know some of you are okay with that, but I would question that if you keep doing 60, 70 hours a week, I'm definitely taking that from some other area of my life. And that area of my life that I'm taking it from is probably paying a price. My relationships, my health, my friendships, my free time, just the energy, how I feel about myself, my emotional energy, all of that is at the expense of grinding 60 to 70 hours a week. I'm not going to do it. I've done that. I've lived that life and I paid a price for it, and I'm not going to do it again. So I just this week hired a new salesperson, brand new to the industry. That's what I wanted, because then I can mold them, I can work with them, they can do the business the way that I want to do it. And typically, for a good seasoned sales professional that would handle the discovery calls and the strategy sessions with the client, I think that number's between 15 to 20%, depending on their experience level. For a brand new person, hey, I said to this guy, hey, you're paying, and you're not going to make much money or any money on the deals while I'm training you to do this business. That's like a university education that you're paying for. He was the right person for the job. I love this guy. I've known him for a while, and I was really, really excited that he said yes and we're doing this, because he's the right guy for what I'm looking for. I need a hungry, young person who wants to learn and wants to succeed and has high ambition and drive. That's the recipe for a great salesperson. And so I'm pretty focused on that. And the reason I did that, so now if you're keeping track, let's say 15% for rough, easy math. If I'm paying 30% for underwriting and doc collection, and I'm paying 15% for my salesperson, that's 45% out the door, leaves 55% for me. However, I don't ever talk to clients. That's what I want. And so that's a personal decision for me, but it also might be the decision for some of you that are listening that are team leaders, where you're still stuck in deals and it's grinding your soul and you just don't want to do that anymore. That's the hire you're looking for. And I've successfully coached many high producing mortgage brokers through that transition. And I can tell you on the other side of that, business growth is enormous, because now let's say you're doing 10 or 15 deals a month as a high producing team leader, and you're doing all of those front end discovery calls, you're doing all of the strategy sessions, you're managing the file, you're trying to stay on top of everything. You have very limited time to actually go out and get business. And that's the trap. However, as soon as you let somebody else do all of that business, I spend all of that additional time on my life and on my go find business. And that's how I grow. And so for me, the personal decision was because, again, I run 3 businesses and I wanted to make sure that I need to be available in those as well. And I particularly don't, I'm good at it, but I don't like having my calendar taken over by clients. I don't like to have to do the client work. I shouldn't say I don't like it. I do like it, but I don't want to do it. So, and I want to focus on, in this business, simply getting the business. Now I'm a ways away from that because I got to transition. I got to train my new guy. And, but the goal is there. The vision is there. And I've got him enrolled in my vision. He sees it. He knows what I'm trying to do. He's bought in. We're connected. We're ready to go. And where I will end up, 3 to 6 months or so, I've got a great little business. It's bringing in deals, and my team is handling. I do no client contact. I don't have, my calendar's not taken over by anybody else. And I make 55%. So let's run the numbers. So let's say I can get this up to 10 deals a month. At 10 deals a month, I'm making $45,000. Let's call it $50,000 for easy math. And 45% of that is going out the door. That's $22,500. So I'm making $38,000, and I never have to talk to clients. Yeah, that's a deal that I'm going to take. It works for me. And it may work for you, for some of you founders out there who are stuck. If you're feeling like it's a burden to go to an appointment, you feel like going into the appointment, you're like, oh no, another one of those. Or there's areas of your life that feel empty, or areas of your life that need attention. Hello, this is the wake-up call. Now's the time to think about it. So that's how I build a team structure. That's what we're doing. Yeah, let's move on to the next segment. The first Ownwell campaign drove 1 funded deal. Not enough? Maybe you might be thinking, this doesn't feel very compelling. Seems like a lot of work for only 1, book deal. But that's not the way I'm thinking about it. This is all a test, and I need to know before I really go for it whether or not the Ownwell math holds. And so that's 1 deal in my very first email. And I got 11 more to go in this test. And based on these results, I'm actually very happy. I'm not shaken, I'm sharpened. I saw real engagement. We saw real people clicking and real people exploring, and I saw the cracks. Copy tweaks, opt-in friction, and we're working on those things. Those things take time, and we need to let them nurture. And now we're addressing all of those issues. So, but this isn't theory anymore. This is a test and learn, adjust and build. And the math still is holding. And if I stay patient and keep iterating, I'm not chasing momentum anymore. I'm designing something for sustainability, and I like it. Hey, listen. It was an $800,000 deal, so roughly $8,000 commission on the first email through what would have cost 50 cents for 200 clients. That's in a year. So the cost of it was quite, the return's been quite good. So I'm actually really, really good. I'm protecting my energy right now, and I think that that's important. This isn't just pump my tires and try to tell myself that it's going to be, that everything's okay. I think the data is actually holding. I think the data is actually promising. And a couple more months of considering that and keep looking at it, make sure it's holding, make sure maybe it's improving, then I can go all in. Then I want to get thousands of people into this. So that's it for episode 4. Thanks for watching. Thanks to our sponsors, Ownwell and Lendesk. Don't forget, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button to let you know when new shows are coming. Leave some comments. These all help me in the show. And in the description, you can sign up for Build Mode Weekly. I got some free gifts in there and some more deeper conversations and things that we're doing. So thanks again for being here. See you on the next episode.